For some, the road to stardom is a long and arduous one, but Justin Bieber blew up at such a young age. His greatest challenge has been growing up while coping with international fame. It's been difficult too, but in a different way. Justin Bieber has been a force on the pop music landscape for so long that it's easy to forget how young he was when he first shot to stardom at age 13. Some interviews from Bieber's early years in showbiz have resurfaced, demonstrating some of the wildly inappropriate treatment he was subjected to at a disturbingly young age. Some of these encounters were documented by the Daily Mail in a video posted to Facebook. One instance included 2012 footage of grown-up Katy Perry hugging Bieber and then giving his butt a grab, in addition to a video from that same year of Jenny McCarthy aggressively attempting to make out with a reluctant Bieber while they're both on stage during the American Music Awards. After the altercation, McCarthy seemed pretty proud of her actions while speaking to ET.
A little cougar scary.
Yeah.
But I took the opportunity in the window, considering I'll never get to do it again, and kind of molested him.
In addition, there's also audio from a British radio interview in which the female host bemoaned that her parents never gave her the sex talk and asked Bieber to do it. Bieber, then just 15, was clearly freaked out, saying, "I feel really uncomfortable right now. Why do you want to know the sex talk from a 15-year-old boy? That's pretty weird." It's no secret that 2014 was a banner year for Justin Bieber when it came to obnoxious public behavior, all the more impressive considering how low the bar had been set the previous year when he made headlines for urinating into a mop bucket in the kitchen of a nightclub. As Page 6 recalled, he began the year by egging his neighbor's house and was subsequently ordered to pay $80,000 in restitution after pleading guilty. Also in January 2014, Bieber managed to get arrested for driving under the influence after being pulled over for street racing. He was charged with driving while drunk, driving without a valid driver's license, and resisting arrest. Hours after pleading guilty, he was charged with allegedly assaulting his limo driver. 7 years later, Bieber looked back at that rough patch in his life with hard-earned maturity. In a reflective post on Instagram, the pop star wrote, "Not proud of where I was at in my life. I was hurting, unhappy, confused, angry, misled, misunderstood, and angry at God. I also wore too much leather for someone in Miami." During that turbulent period in 2014, reports of young Justin Bieber's drug use were also off the charts. According to Page 6, Bieber and his party-hardy entourage smoked so much marijuana aboard his private jet that pilots even wore gas masks so as not to get high from all the smoke after repeatedly warning Bieber against getting high in the air. At the time, the Daily Mail reported that Bieber was spending a staggering $8,000 per week on marijuana, and also reported he was known to chug lean, a potent combination of addictive codeine-laced cough syrup, candy, and sweet beverages like Sprite. According to TMZ, Bieber's team urged him to pump the brakes on his rampant drug use. However, he continually shut that advice down, insisting everything was fun and recreational, not problematic. Still, his behavior provoked concern. As Lucian Grange, chairman of Bieber's record label Universal Music Group, told the Daily Mail, "I'm very concerned about him. He needs help. He needs an intervention."
My security and stuff were coming into the room at night to check my pulse. Like, people don't know how serious it got.
Eventually, Bieber straightened himself out. Years later, he reflected on his bad boy ways in a lengthy 2019 Instagram post. He wrote in part, "I started doing pretty heavy drugs at 19. I became resentful, disrespectful to women, and angry. I became distant to everyone who loved me, and I was hiding behind a shell of a person I had become." The singer went on to say it took him years to repair the damage his harmful behavior caused at the time. In 2018, a YouTube video caused further worry about the state of Bieber's health. In the brief clip, Bieber is seen greeting some fans in Grand Rapids, Michigan. With his teeth gritted into a grimace, Bieber waved before his entire body began convulsing as if he'd experienced a brief seizure of some sort. He then embraced a female fan, frenetically petting her back. In comments on the video, viewers shared their concerns for the singer, with several speculating that Bieber was experiencing the effects of methamphetamine. Despite the speculation, The Sun reports the fan who received the hug defended the singer, insisting he was just playing it up for the crowd and, in her view, seemed to be perfectly sober. Curiously, that wasn't the only time Bieber was captured on video experiencing an apparent shaking fit. In a 2019 video, shot while he and his wife Hailey Bieber went on an outing, Bieber's head began shaking from side to side, seemingly involuntarily. Being plucked from obscurity at the onset of adolescence and quickly becoming one of the biggest music stars in the world would understandably be an unsettling experience for anyone. For young Justin Bieber, this new world of fame and wealth came at a high price, leading him to become isolated and lonely during a formative stage in his life when, under normal circumstances, he'd be socializing with peers while making connections and friendships. He opened up about the loneliness he experienced in a 2015 interview with Click TV, claiming how it may look from the outside like superstars have a lot of friends, but much of those connections are superficial. During the interview, it seems like he may have referenced the same group of people he'd caused so much trouble with the year prior.
You just end up feeling like, well, I'm connecting, but I'm not feeling what I want to feel. So that's where I ended up.
Happily, he went on to say that he had moved on from his problematic group and had surrounded himself with people with whom he could legitimately befriend, and he trusted to be there to support him instead of use him. One worrisome aspect about Justin Bieber has been his temper. While that appears to be less of an issue in recent years, there was a time when Bieber had a tendency to respond to uncomfortable situations with anger and violence. This was often the case with paparazzi, and in 2014, Page Six reports the singer was even accused of punching a photographer in Paris and sending bodyguards to attack another in Buenos Aires. That same year, Bieber was riding an ATV in Ontario with then-girlfriend Selena Gomez and deliberately rammed the minivan of a photographer who'd been in pursuit. An altercation ensued when Bieber attempted to grab the guy's camera. According to CTV News, the recording artist pleaded guilty for the altercation and paid a small fine. Bieber has even taken his anger out on audiences. This was the case during his 2016 concert in the British city of Manchester, where he chastised fans for screaming too loudly. When the yelling didn't subside, he stormed off stage. In 2020, Justin Bieber shared a now-deleted Instagram post to reveal he'd been diagnosed with Lyme disease. A few weeks later, in his YouTube docuseries Justin Bieber Seasons, Bieber revealed that he'd long felt as if his energy was depleted and underwent a barrage of medical tests that ultimately led to this diagnosis, as well as the discovery that he had mono. In the same episode, Bieber's physician, Dr. Erica Lemon, explained that Lyme disease is a bacterial infection that can be tricky to diagnose and can have a wide array of effects on patients.
Irritability, depression, anxiety. Justin fits the picture of these symptoms.
While the documentary also showed the pop star getting treatment for the illness, just a few years later, he gave fans another worrisome health update. In a video he posted on Instagram, he revealed that he suffered from Ramsay-Hunt syndrome, an illness that affected nerves in his ear and face, causing complete paralysis in one half of his face. Previously, he'd postponed 3 shows on his upcoming Justice World Tour, but even worse news followed, and the effects of the disease were so serious, Bieber announced in a subsequent tweet that he had to cancel his remaining tour dates. Thankfully, the symptoms he'd experienced were not permanent. In March 2023, he posted a video on Instagram stories in which he demonstrated his ability to smile, indicating that his facial paralysis was no more. Around the time Bieber was first opening up about his health struggles, the pop star also revealed that he's long struggled with depression. In 2019, Bieber posted a lengthy essay on Instagram, opening up about the unfortunate decisions he'd made when he was younger and the mental health struggles he'd experienced. He wrote about how he struggled to get up in the morning, facing all the complications of his day-to-day life, writing, "You start foreseeing the day through the lens of dread and anticipate another bad day, a cycle of feeling disappointment after disappointment. Sometimes it can even get to the point where you don't even want to live anymore, where you feel like it's never going to change." During a 2020 listening party for a single Yummy, Bieber reportedly broke down in tears while speaking with the crowd. As Variety reported, he looked back on the deep depression he'd experienced and claimed he was surprised he had even survived some of the darker times he'd gone through, thanking his manager at the time for largely supporting him through that period. In his documentary, Justin Bieber, Next Chapter, Bieber became extremely candid about the depression he'd faced. At one point, he admitted his feelings of hopelessness had become so severe that he contemplated taking his own life rather than continue hurting.
The pain was so consistent. I was just suffering, right? So I'm just like, man, I would rather not feel this.
Bieber ultimately credited his faith in God for lifting him out of the mental abyss he'd found himself in. Justin Bieber married Hailey in September 2018, and the couple's matrimonial journey got off to a rocky start. While appearing on the podcast The Ebro Show, Bieber reflected that he had initially expected marriage to solve many of the problems he'd been dealing with already, and it took some serious adjustment on his part to accept the fact that wasn't the case. Speaking on the In Good Faith with Chelsea and Judah podcast, Bieber also reflected that their first year of being spouses was a rough ride. The pop star revealed that he'd come to the knowledge that he had a lot of work that he needed to do on himself if the marriage was going to work, saying, "I realized there was some serious healing I needed to go through in order to get to a place where I could be in a healthy, serious relationship because I had a lot of trauma and scars." Hailey also participated in the interview and divulged that their relationship had experienced difficulties even before getting married. She detailed one particularly rough patch when they weren't even speaking to each other, reflecting that she had done something that hurt her partner seriously, and she theorized that it may have even temporarily changed his thoughts on getting married at all. Happily, they were able to overcome their difficulties and make it to the altar. After more than 5 years of marriage, some disturbing rumors about Justin and Hailey Bieber began to surface in early 2024. According to In Touch, the marriage was reportedly on the rocks, with Hailey becoming increasingly fed up with her husband's fragile emotional state. As a source told the outlet, Justin is clingy, and he relies on her so much for his emotional and psychological well-being. There are times Hailey just wants to end it so she can be on her own again. Noting that the two had experienced a lot of highs and lows in their marriage, the source added that those close to the couple are pretty surprised they made it this far as spouses. The source also pointed out that her experience as a model had toughened Hailey, while Justin had been catered to and micromanaged since he was a child. This may have resulted in the pair having different levels of maturity. Another issue reportedly pushing the two apart was their differing stances on children, with Justin wanting them now and Hailey preferring to wait. On top of all that, the singer's myriad of health problems may have strained their relationship, as Hailey had to become something of a caretaker while neglecting her own needs. Despite these challenges, the source also pointed out that more than anything, Hailey wants to make their marriage work. So even if things are rocky, it's doubtful we'll hear about a separation in the near future at least. If you or anyone you know is having suicidal thoughts, please call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline by dialing 988 or by calling 1-800-273-TALK. That's 1-800-273-8255.